All right. Bismillah. Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuhu. Everyone, my name is Mariam Ahmed. I am the Vice Chairperson of the IOU USA Sisters Student Committee, and I am a student of Islamic Studies at IOU as well. This session is being hosted in collaboration with the International Open University, or IOU, founded by Dr. Bilal Phillips. IOU is dedicated to making authentic Islamic knowledge accessible and affordable worldwide, while also offering a wide range of programs, from Islamic studies to psychology, education, and more. The mission is not just academic excellence, but nurturing students who live Islam as a complete way of life, applying what they learn in service to their community. As a student myself, I can say IOU is more than just a university. It's a global family of learners. And that brings me to our honored guest today. You know how some people have a fangirl moment when they meet celebrities? For me, those moments are with my teachers because the knowledge they share truly shapes our lives. And today's speaker is someone I'm deeply grateful for. She always emphasizes gratitude, not just as a feeling, but as a way of living with Allah in mind. She is someone who has dedicated her career to integrating Islamic principles with psychology, making both fields meaningful and relatable for Muslims around the world. It is my honor to introduce Sister Bela Khan, a PhD candidate in psychology, an assistant professor at IOU, a clinical director of Solace, author, dedicated homeschooling mother, and the creator of the Islamically Integrated Life Coaching course, which is empowering people globally to inspire positive change in their communities. Her areas of interest span religion, psychology, philosophy, and poetry, and through her work, she continues to bridge the gap between faith and psychology. We are blessed to have her here with us today. Mr. Bela, the floor is yours.
All right. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi ta'ala wa barakatuhu. All right. Everyone can hear me, perhaps. Mariam, is my voice clear?
Yes, I can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much for having me. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. All right. Let me know if you can see my screen. Is my screen visible?
Yes, it's visible.
All right, then let's get started. Bismillah. First up, thank you very much, Students Committee USA, for having me here. And I hope that whatever we are sharing together become a source of khair for you, for your family, and the entire ummah. And the topic that has been given to me is the reset button, renewing your energy, focus, and confidence. So, I have primarily prepared this presentation from the perspective of students who are going to perhaps start their first semester or start their new semester, right? So they are moving from semester 4 to 5th. But I would definitely want to invite all of you to look at this presentation from a perspective where you are making any new start in life. I mean, everyone has to go through some phases in life where they make an advancement and then they have to take a few steps back, or they make an advancement and then they have to jump to the next level, whatever it is for you, right? I would invite you to look at this presentation from that perspective. So let's start with the students, right? So here we are at the start of the new semester. When I was a student, I still am a student. I'm doing my PhD, but not that kind of a student anymore, where you were going to your universities and you had fresh, crisp pages and new notebooks and a chance to do things differently. And of course, I belong to the Stone Age, so in my days, you still used to have notebooks. Now these days, these is iPad and all that I understand. But there has always been a sense of excitement in the air. So I would like to ask you guys, how many of you are excited? Or how many of you are nervous about the start? Because perhaps you have to juggle a lot of things. You're not just a student, most of you are, let's say, part time students or mothers and students or fathers who are working and students. So the new semester, as much excitement as it brings, it also brings a little bit of nervousness. Perhaps you're carrying stress from other areas of your life or other challenges of your life, and here the new semester has also started. So, some form of motivation or renewal or that courage is needed or the confidence is needed to make this new start. Or, again, as I said, that this is just not about the semester. Sometimes life comes in cycles of renewal. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, indeed, with hardship comes ease. So, subhanallah, again, what's your new start in life? Perhaps it's after a marriage that you're making a new start. You have entered a new phase of life. Perhaps it's after a divorce. Perhaps it's after having a child. Perhaps it's after starting a new business. So I would just invite you to look at this presentation from your own perspective. So, my people, I'm just going to be, again, whether you're starting a new semester or you're recovering from a setback or you're just looking to make a fresh start in a fresh direction in life, inshallah, I'm just going to be giving you 4 hour formula. And I hope that, inshallah, this is going to be helping you as Maryam said at the beginning of the presentation, that in my life, I'm making an attempt to present the content in the light of Quran and Sunnah backed by psychology. So content which is in and of itself is complete, but of course it completes psychology when it is added to psychology, right? So these are the 4 steps that we are going to be exploring together: reconnect, refocus, re energize, and reflect. So let's start, my people. We will start by reconnecting, right? And when we talk about reconnecting, um, the story that inspires me the most, I mean, subhanAllah, there are so many stories that inspire me, but the story that inspires me the most is the story of Musa alayhi salam, right? And out of all people out of all the prophets that we know that Musa alayhi salam was the one who had to make that restart twice, right? So we all know the story that when Musa alayhi salam, he had to he once fled to Madian after a major um, happening that happened in his life. And in Madian, he has absolutely nothing, right? He has no job, no house, no shelter, anything that you can think of which is needed for survival, food, shelter. He did not have it, right? And at this point, my people, what did he do? What could he do? I mean, out of randomly moving around, he could have randomly moved around, asking people, requesting people, doing things that is, of course, not very doing things which are not very decent. He could have done anything, right? And you know what I'm directing towards. But Subhanallah, he chose to do what? Whatever he could do. And what could he do? He facilitated 2 ladies in they were trying to get water for their flock. They couldn't. Musa alayhi salam assisted despite having no resources. And after a while we'll be talking about resources and resourcefulness. So my people, he had no resources. Imagine, still he ended up helping someone else without resources. But that's another thing. What we are focusing on today is that what did he do? He made dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. He reconnected with Allah. That Ya Rab, I have nothing. Rabbi inni lima anzalta ilayya min khairin faqir. Ya Rab, anything of khair you give to me, I am in need of it. That's a very crude translation, but I hope that it conveys the meaning that anything, Ya Rab, anything I want. That was one point, and we know that after this, the Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blessed him with almost everything that is needed to have a decent life, a house, job, wife, family, whatnot. And then another restart that he has to make. So, of course, Musa alayhi salam, he crosses the Red Sea. People are panicking. Oh my God, what is going to happen now? Imagine Pharaoh's army at the back, river right in front of you. Where do you go? You can't move back. You can't go in front. And that's what happens in my life, my people. Sometimes you have, all the doors at the back are closed, and right in front of you is an ocean, is a river. Where do you go? What do you do? And that's where the reconnection with Allah, the trust, the renewed trust in Allah, if you will, helps. Kalla, not at all. He told the people, no, 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 we are not drowning. Right? My Lord is with me and He will guide me. He will tell me what to do. Right? So, my people, again, we spoke about confidence, right? The title speaks about confidence. So, the true confidence begins inside. It's not through outside resources, it's inside with a peace of heart. And that's where I bring you to the ayah that I've mentioned at the top. Ala bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub, right? So whatever nervousness, anxiety, or trouble that is associated with the start of new semester or anything that you're starting in life, one small act of reconnection. Ya Allah, I am lost. I don't know. Ya Allah, help me. Help me to define the way. Help me to tell me how am I going to cross this river. Ya Allah, help me to find out, what's the way ahead. And when you do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the way. When you do that, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala opens the way in ways that you wouldn't have even imagined. But my people, it has to be with sincerity. It has to be with ikhlas. It has to be with, again, the resources that you have, rather than looking for resources that you are not having, you do not own or you do not have, and crying over them unnecessarily. So when you're studying, I can just recommend one very quick sort of tip to you. How can I reconnect with Allah every day? So before you're studying or before you're embarking on anything, you have to, that you recite Bismillah, and Bismillah makes any mundane act into a very sacred act. So perhaps, you just woke up and you have to make your bed. Khalas, making the bed is a very mundane act. It's just a normal day-to-day act. But when you say Bismillah, that act in and of itself becomes significant. That act in and of itself becomes, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us the ability to keep reciting Bismillah before almost everything that we do. So Bismillah, it changes mundane into sacred. So just close your eyes and have a ritual of your own to reconnect with Allah. Ya Allah, make this easy for me. Ya Allah, um, help me to help this person. This is what we do in therapy sessions. Sometimes I tell this to my student that, when a person comes to me, I have this ritual. I just make dua to Allah in my heart. Ya Allah, help me to help this person. That's it. Ya Allah, help me to help this person. And again, my people, it's not just a matter of having, rituals. And I'm not saying that this is a part of deen. I mean, let's not confuse it with bid'ah. It can be something of your own, right? It's just your very personalized way of connecting with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So just before diving into study, before diving into your day, before just pause for a few seconds and close your eyes and just make dua to Allah. Ya Allah, make it easy for me. Ya Allah, help me to help your people, whatever it is for you. So apparently you would say, yeah, this is just so insignificant. This is so small. Yeah, it is small, but it's really powerful, right? Because it sets your intention. And Prophet ﷺ said that إِنَّمَا الْأَعْمَالُ بِالنِّيَّاتِ, actions are judged by intention. So again, a simple dua like this can genuinely transform your ordinary studying experience into a form of ibadah, right? And of course, psychology also backs this up, because rituals, as of course a lot of studies suggest, even if they are small, even if they are tiny, rituals can reduce anxiety. Rituals can significantly reduce anxiety, because anxiety is essentially coming from not knowing what is going to happen in the future. Anxiety is necessarily attached to something that is happening in future, and rituals are something that brings certainty into life, right? So if I'm not sure of anything that I'm going to be doing, I'm sure of one thing, that I'm going to be praying asr, right? So perhaps if you asked me that, what would you be doing after concluding this workshop? I don't know. Perhaps I'll get a cup of tea, or perhaps I'll go check what my son is doing, or perhaps, I'll prepare dinner. I'm not too sure. The only thing that I'm sure about is at a certain point I will be praying. So rituals bring certainty in life, and this is the reason that rituals have a lot of significance attached to them, other than of course being the after being the abd of Allah, and not to take away from the fact that we engage in rituals in our 5 daily salah, all of that, because we are the abd of Allah in the first and foremost, right? And anything else that we do comes after that. um I'll tell you an interesting thing. Athletes, they also have rituals, right? Before big competitions, and they have some sort of ritual. So again, I'm not necessarily suggesting that they win because of those rituals, but then rituals bring certainty, right? So again, if we begin each session with this dua, inshallah, we are not just preparing our mind, but we are also preparing our heart to be able to receive Allah's help. So this is the first of 4 hours that reconnect with Allah, right? Then is the time to do the thing, right? To be able to practically implement whatever it is that you're supposed to implement. Let's say it's for you, it's your studies, your goals. You need to take action, right? And taking action has been stressed so much in the Quran. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Tawbah, and say, do, act, for Allah will see your deeds. Similarly, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in Surah Ra'd that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is not going to change the condition of our people until they change what is in themselves. Similarly, in Surah Najm, we learn that لَيْسَ لِلْإِنسَانِ إِلَّا مَا سَعَى, that for a man there is nothing except for what he strives, and his effort is going to be seen. So there's a lot of emphasis on action, my people. So again, whether it's your studies or any other area of your life, if you're just sitting idle, if you're not taking action, and if you're just thinking tomorrow, day after tomorrow, oh yeah, in Urdu we say kal se roz padhunga, I'm going to be studying tomorrow. And they joke around with ladies. They say, "Who are we? We are ladies, and what do we want? We want to lose weight. How are you going to do that?" And they say, "By going to gym. When are you going to gym? Monday. Today is Monday. No, next Monday." Right? So you see these memes, and there are an element of truth associated with it, that we want to do something on Monday, but it's always the next Monday. So, no, my people, it has to be today. It has to be today, because we are going to be rewarded for the actions that we take, and nothing can change in our life without action. In the weakest of moments, my people, in the most vulnerable of the moments, Allah wants us to take action, and it is after that that He brings change, or He brings, of course, results are in the hands of Allah. You take the action, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is going to give you the reward. Or I just yesterday I was in a class, and together we were reflecting on the story of Maryam salamun alayha. And subhanAllah, when you discuss things, this is a monologue, which is usually very difficult for me, but when you discuss things with your students, there are so many other perspectives that they bring to the discussion. So we were having this discussion, and we were speaking about Maryam salamun alayha, that during childbirth she was alone, she was in pain, and she was fearful. And this was the time that she needed Allah's help most, in a way that some angel should have come down with some dates in a plate for her. And we learned that when earlier, when Zakaria alayhi salam would visit Maryam salaman alayha, and he would ask, where is this fruit coming from? And she would say, it's from Allah. We don't learn that Allah asked her to put any effort at that point of time, but now when she is so much in need of that something to be presented to her in a plate, that's where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is asking her that shake the trunk of the palm tree and fresh dates will fall upon you. Really? Really? Now imagine a woman in childbirth shaking a heavy palm tree. Physically, it's impossible, right? And also, if you have tried to shake a palm tree, I have personally, it doesn't move. It is so hard. It is so tough. Nothing falls, by the way. I mean, of course, but imagine, why did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ask her to shake it? Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, imagine, even in that moment, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wanted her to put in the effort, and then the result will come, right? So even in her weakest moment, she was told to do something, right? So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to take that small step, no matter how small or how difficult or how insignificant. But before He sends the help, He really wants us to take action, right? So again, my people, confidence, when we speak about confidence and start with confidence, confidence is not about having all the strength to shake that the trunk of the palm tree, right? It's about just that that small action that invites barakah from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And now we just need to pause perhaps. And if you were in conversation with me, I would have definitely paused and asked that what is that one action that you can take that can bring, they can make other things fall into place. I'll give you a very simple framework. Again, for your studies, for your goals, for anything. Try this WOOP framework, right? So WOOP essentially stand for Wish, Outcome, Obstacle, Plan, right? Wish, what do I want to do this semester? Or what do I want to do in this phase of life? Or what do I want to do when I've started this new business? Outcome, what outcome will it look or feel like when I achieve it? Obstacle, what might stop me? Plan, what if X happens, I will do Y. And I'll just elaborate it for you, right? So wish is basically when you define something. Define something that you really, really, really want to achieve. So perhaps I want to study consistently this semester. This, by the way, having this goal is better than aiming for A grade or A plus grade, because when you're aiming for A grade, that does not necessarily mean that you're going to study consistently through the semester. It may mean that perhaps you're chilling the whole semester and just 1 week before the exams you're studying like crazy. It's not overall, it's not a very effective strategy, right? So consistent. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala likes the deeds that are small but consistent. Secondly, you have the outcome. So you visualize, right? What's best if your wish comes true, right? What is the best case scenario? People are very much into, I had a teammate who was very much into, I hope this person is not listening. This person was very much into such a bit of what happens? What happens if the worst happens, right? What's the worst case scenario? What's the worst case scenario? So initially I used to listen to what's the worst case scenario. And then I started inviting this person to think that what's the best case scenario? What if the best happens? Right? So my people, visualization or being able to see the outcome is a choice that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us. And when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given us a choice, why don't we utilize it to see the best? Why don't we utilize it to visualize the best? So I'll feel less stressed before the exams and my grades will improve. A better way to say that I'm going to get A grade, right? Then identify the biggest obstacle that you could stop, and that is usually the inner obstacle, right? My people, again, if you look about around the obstacles in the surrounding, you will find that there is no obstacle in the surrounding which is as big as your inner struggles. The nafs that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala done is, especially the nafs al-ammara that we have been given, there's no bigger challenge outside in this world, right? So that I get distracted by my phone or I procrastinate when I feel tired. So what do? Create a plan, right? If I feel like reaching for my phone, I will put it in another room for 30 minutes. If I procrastinate, then I'll remind myself that no, inshallah, I'm doing it for the sake of Ummah, I'm doing it for the bigger cause, I'm doing it for the sake of Allah. I'm going to, if you're studying Islamic psychology, perhaps you're contributing to the revival of the field, or to be able to present something to the Muslim world that can undo the damage that has been caused by secular psychology. So when you remind yourself of the bigger plans, of the bigger why, again, fighting with the inner obstacles become easy. One of the techniques that is, again, you can engage into, one of the very effective techniques that personally has worked for me as well, that's Pomodoro technique, right? So this essentially says that you work for like 25 minutes and then you take a break, right? And the break is not going to be long. You just take a 5-minute break, and please don't start scrolling in that break. Otherwise, that break is going to turn into 50 minutes and you won't realize. So perhaps, simple things, walk around, drink water, these things, right? These things in this 5 minutes. Then you study again for 25 minutes. And you just have to tell yourself that, okay, I'm just going to be studying for 25 minutes. Take another break for 5 minutes. 5 minutes, perhaps this time you can go to kitchen and see, what's there in your fridge that was not there 25 minutes ago. Oh no, that's not a good idea. Okay, moms are going to be mad at me for this idea. But generally, perhaps anything, right? Perhaps go brush your hair. Anything that can help you recharge. Another 25 minutes. And after this 25 minutes, you're going to take a longer break, something like 15, 20 minutes. So the healthy snack can do perhaps a quick conversation with your sibling or anyone or anything that can help you rejuvenate. So this is how you just have to tell your brain that I'm going to be studying for 25 minutes, right? Not 4 hours straight. And that technique is really helpful because it gives, it allows you to focus and then to be able to take away the focus, only to be able to focus again, if that's making sense, right? So this is a very effective technique for people who cannot study, especially in on a go, and that is not something recommended as well, that you're studying for 4 hours without any break. That leads to burnout, and this is not something that is recommended. And this is also that, when we do workplace trainings, that workplace, you should give them short breaks, or tea breaks or whatever break that is doable after every half an hour, 45 minutes, so that the continuous stream of workflow can be broken down, and they can rejuvenate, recharge, in order to be able to work better in the next half. So this is something that we can do as well. This is called Pomodoro technique. And again, it works for students, it works for it works in the workplace, anything virtually. This is going to help. My people, one thing at a time, 10 goals versus one thing. So I would invite you to think about that one thing. If you do, everything else will fall into place, or every other task that becomes easier, right? So perhaps if I asked you that one thing, you might be thinking, only if I wake up early, I can get so many things done. But no, no, no. Is there anything else that you can do to wake up early? Yeah, there's something else as well. And for that, you have to sleep early. There's no way you can wake up early without sleeping early, right? So I was in conversation with someone, and this someone is very interested in a particular course, and they're telling me that, Bella, the timings are like 12 a.m. to 2 a.m. my time zone. Although, I have engaged in all sort of craziness. I have taken classes at 3 a.m. and all that. But then I said that, are you sure you'll be able to do that? And, you'll have to wake up for your salah and all that. And you think you'd be able to carry out a normal day after that? And this person was like, yeah, that might be difficult. So again, you have to weigh, you have to prioritize things. So if one thing you can do and everything else will fall into place, or if everything will not fall into place and at least will become easier, you have to identify that one thing and leave everything else, and just um try to aim for that one goal. Again, perhaps sleeping earlier, waking up earlier, perhaps putting your phone outside the room when you're studying, perhaps studying with a study partner to be able to, whatever it is for you. But identify that one thing. If you cannot find that one thing, just ask Allah. Yeah, Allah, I heard about that one thing, and I'm not too sure what that one thing is. So please guide me, right? Please guide me. And Allah's guidance will come. Again, my people, please know that when we discourage people to have 10 goals at the same time, one thing is that it is a recipe for failure, right? I don't know if you have, but during my strictly my student days, I used to make a lot of long plans, and I used to divide almost every hour of my day into something that I was supposed to do. But truth be told, I was never able to completely act upon those meticulous timetables that I would make. If I see in retrospect now, perhaps a better thing would have been to focus on one thing at a time, to focus on one thing, right? So one of the suggestions that we get, and it is very, very effective, that try to plan your life around Salah. Try to plan your life around Salah. So you can see that, rather than doing things like at 10 a.m., I'm going to do this, and 10, perhaps you can have conversations like, after Zohar, I'm going to take a nap. Like for me personally, afternoon nap is very important, right? Just an hour before this class, I took a 10-minute nap, because I'm not functional in the second half of the day if I'm not taking nap. So this is something that you need to identify. When are you getting the energy dip, right? So if you have, let's say, if this is 4 p.m. in the noon, and you have made a plan to do your most difficult theories or let's say mathematical formulas or organic chemistry or I don't know what crap cycle perhaps. At this time, then again, it's a recipe for failure because you need to identify, you need to have this level of self-awareness that this is a time when I'm going to experience an energy dip. So uh, I shouldn't be scheduling anything complex for the second half of the day or perhaps during night. I should just perhaps be revising the concept that I have already clarified or concepts that are easier as compared to the rest. So my people, for this self-awareness is very, very important, right? And if Allah doesn't burden our soul beyond what we can bear, so why do we burden our soul beyond what we can bear? Certain level of self-awareness can take you a long way ahead, right? A little bit of self-awareness. But if you're doing a lot of things, you're making timetables, schedules, this, that, and the reason that you're not being able to act upon that is perhaps you don't know how your prototype works or how your personality works or how your functionality is with respect to different times of the day. So I hope that I've made the point across. This is I think one of the major points that we perhaps need to look into. Moving right along, this is very important, my people. A lot of people complain about I don't have resource. My question is, what resource did Musa alayhi salam have when he went to Madian? He landed at Madian in one way, right? And if a person who does not have any house, any which have there, any house, any wealth, any car, or perhaps what else, food. Yeah, he has nothing. Can you even imagine that this person ended up helping someone else? Yes, this person did because he did not have resources, but he had resourcefulness. So, what's the difference? When it comes to resources, it essentially means things you have, things or some metaphysical entities as well, like time, money, books, technology, teachers, opportunities. These are often external, these are limited, and probably they're not always in your control, right? So perhaps you have money, today you have money, tomorrow you don't. Today you have technology, but what happens to internet next moment we don't know. May Allah protect our internets, right? Just yesterday I was I was giving a talk, and in my subhanallah, in my session there was one very brave lady. I don't know how many of you know, but Pakistan and India have been hit by monsoon flood recently, and this like very chaotic, very disastrous. So one lady tells me that she's sitting in her house that has a lot of water. The street in front has a lot of water, but she's so enthusiastic that she's still taking the class. Right. And I was just thinking that subhanallah, she has all the reason in the world to complain that there's flood water in her house. Right. And she's annoyed, she's in trouble. And look at her, she's sitting here and taking the class. And this morning she messaged me that subhanallah, Sister Bela, you changed my perspective. I said, no, Habibti, you changed my perspective. I'm sitting here in the luxury of my home office and I'm giving the lectures, and there you are sitting and taking the class in such a difficult state, and yet you're being grateful to Allah, yet you're telling me that I changed your perspective. It's you who changed my perspective, right? So this is resourcefulness, my people, the mindset, the creativity, the fact that Allah is my Raziq, and even if I don't have anything material, Allah has everything, and He's going to give me when I need it. This is resourcefulness. So you see, people get scholarship out of nowhere. Uh, so again, when I was looking into my options of PhD, it's crazy expensive in some part of the world. But I don't know where the scholarship came from. Subhanallah, like there's so many blessings of Allah that you feel so overwhelmed talking about. So for people, scholarships come from nowhere. Allah's help come in ways that they wouldn't have even imagined. So that's resourcefulness, my people, and all of us are resourceful. We might not have resources, but we all are resourceful. This is always internal. This is always in our control. That is dependent on the tawakkul on Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, unlimited in potential. And I usually think that, again, the stories of Quran inspire us so much that when Musa alayhi salam's mother, she put him in the basket and handed him over to the river. I don't know the amount of tawakkul. Where did she bring the amount of tawakkul, right? So of course she did all that self-regulation and emotion regulation, but then the trust that he put in Allah, that was her resourcefulness. That although I don't have resources to save my child from Fir'aun, but I have resourcefulness. I have the mindset. I have the tawakkul on Allah. That will protect my child. And we see that is exactly what ended up happening. Right? So even if you don't have the laptop, you may find a library computer. Even if you don't understand a concept, you ask a classmate, watch a video. There are so many ways to do things rather than to complain. That's resourcefulness for you. Third point, my people, re-energize the body and the brain. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says in the Quran, and we made sleep a means of rest for you, and we made night as clothing, and we made day for the livelihood. Now, my people, let me ask you, what time do you sleep? And you don't have to answer me. You can just answer yourself. I'll just give you a couple of minutes. So, my people, why is this question so important? Our night life determines the quality of our life. Our night life determine the quality of life. What does that mean? What is nightlife? You essentially have to perform your sunans. All of us have to perform our sunan, and then we have to sleep. Isha, post Isha, the discussions unnecessary, and post Isha, it's a reminder to myself, because I'll be honest, my people, I fall into this trap more often than I would want to. To just aimlessly scroll, doom scrolling. So this is a reminder to myself first. SubhanAllah, in our therapy sessions, we see that, and I can say this with full confidence, that when people come to us with depression, with anxiety, and we try to, we try to see the lifestyle that they're engaged in, or the lifestyle that they have, one thing that is common is that they're awake most part of the night and they're sleeping most part of the day. Every time we go against the system of Allah, every time we go against the system of Allah, our souls, our soul, they scream. They're starved. They're looking for help, because the souls cannot go against fitra. And the more you force a soul to go against fitra, the more mental health troubles you will see. Our bodies are living in the comfort that our forefathers have not seen, that perhaps no one in humanity has ever seen before, but we have more problems in terms of mental health than ever before. Every other person, there are stats, especially in Pakistan, the stats said that 1 out of 3 women have some level of depression, mild or moderate or severe. May Allah protect us, right? So I'll just share a hadith with you, and subhanallah, this was in terms of the Sahabas enthusiasm towards deen, but we are the opposite, right? So there were 3 companions who made this uh, pact with themselves, who just made a promise with themselves. And one of them said that Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his past and future sins are forgiven, but what about us? Our past and future sins are not forgiven. So let's do something different. So one of them said that I will offer the prayer throughout the night forever, and the other one said that I'm going to be fasting throughout the year, and I'm never going to break my fast. Yani I'm going to be fasting every day. And the third one said that I will keep away from women. I'm not going to be marrying anytime, right? I will not marry forever. So Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, when he met them, Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, see, I am more submissive to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I am more scared of or afraid of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala than all of you. But I fast and I break my fast as well. And I sleep and I have married. So follow my religion, right? Because your body has right over you. So our body has right over us, my people, and one of the right is that when it is time to sleep, sleep. There's a whole physiology in action when we sleep. So as it gets dark, there is this sun is gone, melatonin is produced in the body. That melatonin signals to the body that you need to sleep. But what happens when there's so much light? And one of the things that I personally do at my home is I turn off all the ceiling lights, and I turn on the lamps, the small lamps here and there. So my children get an idea, khalas, that's the day is over. There's no way we can, extend anything that we're doing. So perhaps you can turn off your ceiling lights and turn on your small lamps around you. And these are like very cheap lamps, nothing expensive, right? So this will give a signal to your body, now is the time to wrap up, now is the time to sleep. But every time the mobile light is or the screen is shining at us, that melatonin is affected. The body thinks it's still, daytime and I don't have to sleep, and the melatonin production is affected. So my people, in order to be able to generally re-energize ourselves, we need to understand that we have to sleep, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has asked us to sleep, and that's nighttime, right? That's nighttime, that's not the daytime. So this is the reason that we see that even if we sleep for 5-6 hours, 7 hours during night, it is sufficient. But daytime we keep sleeping for 12 hours, and this is not sufficient for us. We still wake up groggy, we still wake up in a way that what is this, what is going on, right? So energy habit, my people, something around sleep, nutrition, or exercise. Have one thing that you can do. Perhaps you can sleep at the right time, perhaps you can drink more water, or perhaps have a very light exercise, something to be incorporated in your routine this semester or in this phase of life. And finally, I know I'm taking a lot of time, I'll just wrap it up here. Inshallah, reflect. Reflect, my people. Whatever calamity that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has written for us, or we are going through, whatever test that we are going through, there is a deeper meaning to it. There's a deeper reason for it. If we do not identify that deeper meaning, if we do not reflect over that deeper reason, we waste the opportunity, right? First thing is that we are being tested. And if we have not identified what Allah, or if we have not learned the lesson that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants us to learn, we have wasted that opportunity, right? And during that test, one of the things that we can do is, again, to be able to reflect on the hikmah of Allah. And we see that happening to all the prophets. Prophet Ayub, he was tested like anything, with his property, with illness, with loss of children, his kingdom, everything. Then he asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Ya Allah, adversity has touched me. Rabbi anni massani ad-dur wa anta arhamur rahimin. And you are the most merciful of the merciful. And Allah restored his health. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala doubled his blessings. Because again, he was reflecting, he was contemplating. Yunus alayhi salam, in the belly of the whale, he was contemplating. He was thinking, Yalla, I messed up, sorry. So the lesson that he learned, there was this something I did, please take me out of it. So again, we have to get out of it by reflecting on it. And what, even that, in that adversity, even in that vulnerable moment, whatever practically we can do, Allah expects us to do that. One of the hadiths that really inspires me is if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, if the day of judgment comes, Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam says that if the day of judgment comes and you have a seedling in your hand, you're about to plant the seedling, and the day of judgment comes, plant it. Do not, hold yourself back. Yeah, what's the point now? It's the day of judgment now. Khalas, the world has ended. No, plant it. Yani, this is the, subhanAllah, this is the hikmah, this is the motivation, this is the push that we get to act. Nothing changes, my people. Nothing changes without action. So again, perhaps one of the journaling tips can be write one challenge from the last semester plus one lesson learned. I'll wind it up for you. It would have been good had you guys been around and we would have had a bit of chit chat, but khair, inshallah, perhaps we can take a few questions at the end, or I don't know how it works. I'll wind it up here, my people. Reconnect, refocus, re-energize, reflect, and make a lot of thought. وآخر دعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته.
All right, Jazakallah khair for this very helpful webinar, Sister Bella. I do have a few questions, if you're ready.
Sure. Bismillah.
Okay. The first question I have is I have never used Insta. For the past 2 weeks, I have been scrolling till 1 a.m. every time I think of sleeping early. I feel sleepless and then start scrolling until I feel sleepy. How can I recover from this?
The first part of the question was very interesting. I've never used Insta. So my question is, if you do you have a good reason to use Insta now? See, something that I'm doing myself, I wouldn't ask anyone else not to do, but sometimes it's like really, really good to nip the evil in the bud, right? So perhaps let's say that there is no bigger reason, like we try to use social media with an intention that some of the content should be going from people with the religious mindset so that this place is not dominated by seculars. So if there is no larger purpose of using social media platform, ideally we should abstain from it. But if there is a larger purpose of using social media platforms, and after doing this you engage in this, then you have to be very mindful, my people. One of the things that I recommend to a lot of people, and I've done it personally myself as well, that I have mechanical clock, alarm clock. My alarm clock is mechanical. Those kind that done. So I do not use my mobile for alarm, and this helps me to put my mobile outside my room. Same for my children; they have mechanical alarm, right? So I put it outside my room so I don't have access. So even if I'm not sleepy, which is very rare, subhanallah, I'm a mother of two, so not being sleepy is very rare for me. So if I'm not sleepy, I have, I probably keep tossing on the bed. I do gratitude activity, as Mariam said, I'm very fond of it. I plan things, I do a lot of things, but I don't reach out for my mobile. So this is one of the good things that perhaps you can do, is to have a mechanical clock and put your mobile outside with it's not in your reach. Because again, you said a very powerful thing, you just turn it off and then you feel less sleepy. Why? Because your body, the amount of melatonin that the body has to produce, it doesn't end up producing this much melatonin, right? So your body doesn't get the signal. That is that your brain doesn't get the signal that it's the time to sleep. So you're more awake. Then when you're more awake, then you're like, what do I do now? So you reach out to mobile, you scroll more. So it's a vicious cycle that you fall into. So again, this is something that has to be kept in mind, that the farther it is, the better it is. The mobile yani.
Mm. All right. Okay, I have another question. What about people who are more productive at night and they go to sleep after Fajr, but they wake up around like 10 or 11, so they don't sleep the whole day? And sleeping early is forced. Would that be killing the soul too, or if you stay awake in order to not miss Fajr?
Okay, a few things, right? So we do have prototypes, and we know that, psychology tells us that some people are night owls and some people are. Honestly, I take my inspiration from Sunnah. I take my inspiration from, when psychology gives you a lot of confusing tools, I go back to Quran. I go back to Sunnah to be able to see. So I try to take inspiration from Quran, that were there, prophets who were awake throughout the night, except for, we know that a few nights in Ramadan where we are encouraged to engage in ibadah. We know that even Prophet ﷺ slept during night, and he was awake during a certain part of the night, right? So that's where my inspiration come from. It's very hard for me to wrap my head around the fact that, a lot of people tell me in this day and age, perhaps my people, I would encourage you to go back to fitra and to be able to see through that lens. What does our religion say about that? Right? So it's perhaps
Mm.
it's not about being people being productive at night, but perhaps it's the habit that they have developed over the years that they're unable to sleep at night. And I personally know a lot of people around me, some in my family as well, that they don't sleep at night and they tell me that they're very productive. And perhaps I can tell that it's the habit that they have developed over the years and they are unable to think otherwise. So perhaps that's what I would invite you to do. Look at it from the lens of Quran. Yeah, I think that's all I can come up with right now.
Okay, that's actually very good and interesting that it is something that we have developed over the years. Okay, I do have another question. How can we keep the momentum going after we reset instead of falling back into old patterns?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And there are so many ways to do that. Of course, first up, we make dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And I have personally in my life seen nothing works better than the dua, right? A second thing is that, Mariam, you would be very familiar with the concept of accountability buddy, right?
Yeah.
Accountability buddy is someone who is sharing the same goal as you are, right? So perhaps a lot of people come to us and they're like, we have so many fasts left. How do we, how do we keep all those fasts? So one of the things that we tell, have someone else who shares the same goal. So similarly, your semester has started. See who has taken the same number of courses as you have. Have some plan around it. Meet each other once a week or perhaps twice a week, whatever works for you. Now see, as humans, we experience dips, we experience the whispers from shaitan, we experience that demotivation. So what happens with an accountability, that every time I am demotivated, this person motivates me to go ahead. And whenever this person is demotivated, I am very motivated, and I just keep pushing this person to do that. And I remember that there was a certain phase in my life, me and one of my friends, we decided we are going to fast every Monday and Thursday. So youth days, you're subhanallah very energetic.
Mhm.
So one of the things that we used to do is that we would ask each other that, wake up, put your feet in the ground and send me a photo. Right? So every time
Wow.
suhoor time, we wouldn't want to get up. We had to, we had this ritual of sending the photo of our feet, that okay, I'm standing now, khalas, leave me. So that's how we ended up, fasting for a very long time on Monday, Thursday, subhanallah, well, literally for years. So I think this is what made me believe in this ritual so much, that when you are having an accountability buddy and you're doing all for the sake of Allah, it is really beneficial. So I hope that this will help you regain the momentum or keep the momentum, inshallah.
Inshallah. Okay, one last question is when everything feels overwhelming, how do you personally decide what to focus on first?
Now, this is a very complex question because overwhelm, if you were in a therapy session, that's what my first question would have been. Where is the overwhelm coming from? Is it that you trying to do multiple things together, or are you going through a certain challenge in life? Sometimes it's like I want to do 10 things together, that is creating the overwhelm. So I'm a mother of two kids and I have a lot of things to do, and then I want to do my degree as well. That's one kind of overwhelm. Another kind of overwhelm is perhaps I'm going through a divorce, perhaps I'm getting married, or perhaps somebody that I loved in my family passed away. So both situations demand different sort of strategies, but in either case, a simple question that will help is, what's the priority? What is the most important for me right now? And if again, from Islamic perspective, from the religious perspective, you will see that what are my mandatory roles. So if I am a mother of two and I want to do PhD, but my children are very young, they genuinely need me 24/7. So PhD is perhaps not important. My children are. Right. Similarly, if I'm going
Mm,
through a very rough phase in life, somebody that I loved passed away, and I'm forcing myself to do something else, and I'm not giving myself time to be sad and go through the natural process of grief, then again, that overwhelm or that priority has to be set, because that overwhelm can really damage me in various different ways. So perhaps, a conversation with someone who can help you find what is the priority would help, inshallah.
inshallah. I do have one more question if you're up for it.
Yeah, yeah, I'm up for it, inshallah.
Okay. I have placements going on in our college. I did not get shortlisted even for a single company till now, in spite of good skills and grades. I am getting tensed a lot. What do I need to do?
Um, Trust me, when people don't choose you, you are chosen by Allah.
Mm,
Trust me. A lot of people, there's a lot of injustice in this world, and there's very little we can do about it. But if we shift the perspective, right? If we shift the perspective, subhanallah, there are so many doors that open for us that we were not able to see before the perspective was not shifted. And I can give you so many examples from Quran of perspective shift. Just take the example of Musa alayhi salam. As I said, he could have easily said, "Ya Allah, where have you brought me? There's Musa, there's Pharaoh at the back, and there's sea. What do I do with these people? They're blaming me. They're holding me accountable." He had such trust in Allah. So just I would invite you to perhaps tell yourself this once that, Ya Allah, I'm very curious as to which door are you going to open for me? And I'm very confident, Ya Allah, you're going to be opening a very unique door for me that you haven't opened for any of these people. They're happy with the ordinary, and you're going to be blessing me with an extraordinary. Now, my people, when you have this kind of belief system associated with Allah, you will see miracles happening in life. Mariam, I'll grab myself a glass of water. You can ask the next question meanwhile.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm listening. Go ahead.
Okay, yeah. How do you deal with guilt when you need rest, but you feel you should keep pushing?
Sorry, how do you deal with guilt when what happens?
How do you deal with the guilt when you need rest, but you feel that you should keep pushing?
Guilt in psychology are of few types, right? One is healthy guilt. Healthy guilt is a kind of guilt that, when you have messed up and there is something that is inside of you that's telling that you need to fix it. This is healthy guilt, right? Then there is neurotic guilt. Let's forget it. And then there's false guilt, right? False guilt is something that that gives you false alarm, essentially, right? So your friends are going to a party which has, let's say, haram elements to it, and you're in guilt. How I didn't go? Why did I not go? That's a false guilt. You shouldn't be in the guilt in the first place, right? So sometimes you genuinely need a pause. You genuinely need rest. You genuinely need to slow down. I'll very quickly tell you a story. I think Stephen Covey wrote it in one of his books that there was this woodcutter who would cut wood in the forest and then he would sell the wood, right? So at X, it started getting, rusty, and it wasn't working any better, but he kept on cutting. He never had a chance to, redo his X, or, what's the word? What's the term for that? Sometimes you send your car for um battery change and oil change and all of that, right? So this woodcutter never got a chance to, or never focused on perhaps getting a new X or getting a refreshment for his X. I don't know what's the word for that. And there came a point when the X stopped working, stopped cutting. And it's just like you're using a knife in the kitchen, and you never had this thing that you used to sharpen the knife. I don't know what it is called. Anyway, so sometimes you take rest in order to be able to come better than before, in order to be able to play, or in order to be able to work better than before. For that, some kind of rest and reset is very, very important. We see that in Fitra all the time, that in 24 hours, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us a rest of around 6, 7 hours, 8 hours. Because if you do not take, that's one third of your day. If you don't take that rest, of course, we will not remain functional. So in life, we also need rest, right? In all life, we need to slow down, because if not, then we will not be functional for the next half of life. So from what I'm hearing, Allah knows the best, from whatever little bit of data that I have, it seems like false guilt, right? And false guilt has to be just neglected, just ignored. And you need to do the right thing. That is perhaps for your growth, for your health, for your energy. So take rest if there is a calling.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. All right. Jazakallah khair. I believe that's it for the questions. Thank you so much for coming here, helping us and guiding us today. This was very beneficial, especially for me. I'm also starting a new semester, so it will be very beneficial to me as well.
Thank
So
you
yeah,
very
thank you for your time.
Jazakallah khair. Thank you, Habibti.
Oh, yeah. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.